Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is Friday, March 26th, and you're tuned in to 2.5 Hoopers, Luke Ridnour's favorite basketball podcast. We got a good show for you guys. This is the trade deadline recap show. I got Josh Rose with me
What's up, guys?
and George Martin.
Hello, hello.
All right, so like I said, trade deadline recap show. We're going to cover the Orlando Magic fire sale, the Nuggets winning the Aaron Gordon sweepstakes, Kyle Lowry staying in Toronto for some reason, and so much more. Very very busy trade deadline. Remember, if you like what you hear, make sure to check all our socials, Instant Twitter, all at THHoopers, the usual. If you drop a comment anywhere, we'll shout you out for gaming support. Shout out Frankie the Ace last post. All right, let's get right into this though, because we have a lot to cover. We'll start with the Magic. They traded everyone they're rumored to. Most notably Nikola Vucevic, absolute monster, two-time All-Star, to the Chicago Bulls. So here's the deal. Magic trade Vucevic and Al-Farouq Aminu to the Bulls for Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter Jr., and two top four protected first rounders. Open floor here. Biggest trade of the day. I'll start with you, George.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing we've been kind of clamoring about the Bulls is our hatred for Wendell Carter and the fact that they really don't have a real true center on their team. And this one surprised me. I didn't think they were looking to be that aggressive at the deadline. And it's a relatively good deal for them. Only 2 firsts, so it doesn't, it's not like they're throwing away their future or anything. And now they have a solid core of Kobe White, Patrick Williams, Zach LaVine, and Vucevic. And honestly, now they're even have a better shot of, getting to the 6th seed and not a play-in at all, which we had him being a play-in the whole year. I'm not sure what his contract situation is. I don't know when he's a free agent, but
I think he has 2 years left and then a player.
That still bodes well.
It's a very manageable contract too. It's very
it's
good
team friendly. And yeah, it's going to help LaVine out a lot. They have a true big and who can shoot and stretch the floor alongside Markkanen too. It's a really good deal for him. I'm happy for him. I didn't see that coming, but it was good.
I did not see. I thought he would be the one to stay because it didn't feel like you'd get true value for him.
Yeah,
and I guess we were correct because I don't think it's very fair value for Nikola Vucevic. But Josh, what'd you get from this one?
Orlando is full tanking, and they're doing a pretty good job. And we'll get into it later, but they're really banking on their guys that are kind of hurt right now to be the new upcoming core. This also for Chicago shows their trust in Patrick Williams. They got rid of Otto Porter, who's kind of been their placeholder for a few years. And I guess they like what they've seen with their draft pick and they're kind of just fully embracing it. My only concern, because this looks good on paper, but Vucevic and LaVine are both so ball dominant because they've been in like that situation where they've had to be the guy constantly. LaVine's kind of gotten out of it just because his playmaking ability has improved, but Vucevic has to put the ball in the basket because nobody else can. So that might be a little bit of a struggle. That might hurt them a little bit at the beginning, but overall, this is a very good move for the long term for Chicago. They might be the big winners here.
So I have Chi-Town locking up at least the top 6 seed. I think they'll bump the Hawks out, just because Hawks still battling injuries on defense. But as far as this, I don't think we'll have a problem with that, just because Vucevic is killer in the pick and roll and shoots 40% off the pick and pops from 3.
Yeah.
He's nice with that. And I don't know how good Zach LaVine is as a ball handler on the pick and roll. They also got like Tomas Satoransky coming off the bench, who I know he knows how to run a pick and roll. He's 6'1" in white, so obviously he can. So, I mean, I think they'll get a lot of minutes together too. And I think that's just good. It bodes well. They're trying to win now with Zach LaVine in his prime. Yeah. The guy's averaging 30.
Yeah. They also got a very, very underrated piece in Aminu, who is a terrific big man defender.
He could honestly fill that Otto Porter Jr. role on defense for sure. On offense, he'll kick a few threes here and there, but I really like this trade for them. The defense, I don't know how that'll be. Now they got Lowry.
But the thing is, they never really had good defense to begin with. It was Lowry Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. So it's not like they're just gaining more offense, in my opinion. I don't think they got any worse on defense. They might have gotten better because I think Aminu is undervalued at the big man defending position.
George, so we always check on you to check the pulse of Twitter from Bulls fans, and not just Costa. Which did Bulls fans like more, Wendell Carter Jr. or Lowry Markkanen, as far as keeping on the squad?
Definitely Markkanen. They definitely have a lot more faith in him. I think they liked his potential more. Wendell Carter, just undersized center, and when he was in, he wasn't producing in his role that they wanted. And I'm not really sure how many people wanted Vucevic, but I know they wanted to change it center, and I think for what was on the market and what they got, it's perfect for what they wanted.
Yeah, and also I think one last thing to add here. I think the reason Thaddeus Young works so well is because he's a passing big man. Vucevic is just like that. He's very good he's a very good passing big man. It's probably top 5. We know Jokic is first there, but I mean he gets probably slide in top 3 anyways. He's very fundamentally sound. So and then they Bulls get crushed by good centers. You know, the Embiids, Jokic's, the Goberts. Vucevic is not going to stop those guys.
Gobers. Don't say the Gobers.
He killed them. He killed them last time they played.
I'll take Vucevic over Gobert.
Well, he's not going to stop Gobert on defense, but he'll get you a little bit back on offense. Which
Nobody's going to stop. Everybody stops Gobert on offense.
You need to give him a little respect. 3 nights ago, 24 and 28. Like, you got to give him a little bit of respect.
Against the Warriors.
That was the game he got smoked in drop coverage.
But you give a little.
They lost.
It's not even a Rudy Gobert podcast. We shouldn't have mentioned him once.
Move on.
You guys hate him so much.
I'll
move on. Next up, they shipped Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets, kind of out of nowhere. We talked for 6 podcasts about Danny Ainge and how he's going to get Aaron Gordon. He didn't get Aaron Gordon.
Almost Ainge once again.
But we're going to start with Aaron Gordon here. So, like I said, to the Nuggets for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a first. Leave unprotected. So fair value for Aaron Gordon, or did the Magic kind of get fleeced in this deal specifically? Josh.
Well, I just want to say that thank goodness the Celtics didn't trade for Aaron Gordon, because I don't like that fit at all. George is giving me the weird look, but he's 6'6", man. They don't need another forward.
We're gonna get into this later, though. We'll get into this later.
6'5".
I got something for you later, but keep going.
We're talking about Aaron Gordon here. Aaron Gordon.
Moving on. We were talking about Aaron Gordon. This is kind of a lot to give up for Aaron Gordon. It'll be kind of interesting to see where they fit him. I personally, it's just because I think I have such high stock in RJ Hampton. I'm going to throw a hot take out there. I think that if they develop him properly, he'll start over Markelle Fultz eventually. That's
your man crush, Cole.
My man crush in
his name's Cole. I don't watch Magic
basketball. Cole Anthony will probably be the odd man out.
Josh hopes he's out of the league by then.
But I mean, the Nuggets got a player that they kind of need. They need the athleticism, because Paul Millsap looks bad. when he jumps, it looks like he's going to come down and his knees are going to crumble. So I think this is a very good replacement. I think Nikola Jokic works wonders with this. There's going to be a lot of backdoor cuts and Jokic rocking the perimeter. This is a phenomenal move for Denver. I think it's a little much. We'll see what Orlando does, because they got another pick and they got another raw prospect. But I think it's a good move for both teams. I think Denver gave up a little much, but we'll have to see how well it works for them.
I don't think Denver necessarily overpaid, but Orlando, there was an offer out there supposedly from the Celtics that there was 2 firsts and Smart on the table, but
I would have taken that if I'm the Orlando Magic GM.
Holy moly!
For
thank
podcast,
goodness that didn't happen.
For podcast sake, we're gonna say that wasn't true and on the table. The only thing, like
We're
Josh said,
facts only here on the
like Josh said, the RJ Hampton thing. Yeah, if he pans out, maybe you can look at it as like, that trade might not have been as good as we thought, but the need of Aaron Gordon, I think, is perfect. They can slide him in at the 4. He can switch on defense. Like Josh said, when they double team Jokic, he's just going to cut back door and Jokic is just going to throw some.
Have you seen Uncle Drew? He almost beat an all squad of old men.
He's going to, yeah. And when they lost Jeremy Grant, they had this big defensive void.
This is a Jeremy Grant replacement. 100%.
I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a complete replacement, because Jeremy Grant was a better wing defender, but Aaron Gordon is a good defender, so it helps a lot to fill that void. So I liked it a lot. I did not see them making that move either. I thought he was Boston bound, and honestly, I think Denver probably gets to a top 4 seed now because of injuries higher than them.
Yeah, I think the Magic made out. I mean, I think the Nuggets made out like bandits on this one. They trade a first rounder, probably late. RJ Hampton, who you're big on, but I mean, he could. Yeah. I mean, who really knows what? Who really knows? And Gary Harris was giving them nothing. Probably no games even played. So I mean,
he's just been hurt.
He wasn't playing very well. And then they get Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's 25, guys. 25.
Wow.
Nuggets are very young.
This could rejuvenate like whatever because he was giving the Magic 20 like here and there. Like he was a very versatile scorer. The defense is gonna, in order to fully replace Jerami Grant, they got to get his defense up. But I mean, he'll have to do less on offense. Maybe he can commit there. But I mean, the
Magic had him running point at some point this season.
Like
so he's gonna get a big layoff on that end.
Yeah, I mean, a starting line. Their front court is Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. That's versatile.
That's a phenomenal
and I think they're committing to Will Barton at the starting 2 guard now.
As long as he's healthy, yes.
Which he's been working. Every time I cover the recap, he's got 21 points. So I mean, he's playing really well for them. He also digs in on defense. And then Jamal Murray, who I have a love-hate relationship with. But I'm very high on the Nuggets. I already had them leaping in the standings, getting a top 3 seed to finish the season off, and I stand by that after this. Good trade for the Nuggets. Then kind of wrapping up the Magic, they traded Evan Fournier. Don't Google Fournier. To the Celtics for 2 second rounders. George, I'll start with you. Danny Ainge finally make a good deal here.
I'm gonna give round of applause to Danny Ainge.
I give Danny Ainge an A here. He's having 20 points for
only 2 seconds. I mean, hey, like, did they necessarily need a guard? Not really. I thought a big was more priority. But when you get Evan Fournier for 2 seconds, you literally can't be mad at it. That's an A. He's gonna help more with their scoring, especially late time. I hope I don't see any more Marcus Smart jab step ISOs while Jason Tatum's standing in the corner. Like, what am I doing here? So yeah, it'll help with their offense. Defensively, I honestly don't know how good Fournier is defensively, but I don't think he's like a turnstile. So
he's not good. he's not good on defense.
I don't think. I mean, you might be able to hunt him, but who knows? But I like the move. I just wish they went after a big, but it's going to help them offensively.
There's still the buyout market. Maybe they do get Drummond, but Josh, as the resident Danny Ainge president fan club. That didn't make any sense, but you get the gist of what I said. What do you give this this trade here?
George begging and pleading for a big man. Evan Fournier and Aaron Gordon are 1 inch apart, bud. 6'5" and 6'6". Congrats. I like George said, it's very hard to not give this a good grade. 2 seconds for a 20 points or capable 20-point scorer.
He's a bucket.
Phenomenal. I don't think George completely understands how the Boston Celtics work. He keeps saying, oh, Marcus Smart jab step in the corner while Jason Tatum's sitting on the bench. They need like a playmaker. Kemba Walker's supposed to run that offense, and Jason Tatum's supposed to get looks. He doesn't, and they just keep taking turns isolating. That's not an issue that you can really bring in. I'm more glad that Boston kept their core. They didn't like throw Marcus Smart out there just because he was like struggling. They didn't throw Kemba, even though I was kind of pushing for it. They didn't throw Kemba Walker out for nothing. So I think this is good. They need bodies because Brad Stevens has a fear of running anybody that's not the core 4 and Daniel Tice. So I mean, we'll have to see what he does. I think he'll probably fit in as like the guy that either like starts kind of like a microwave at the beginning, kind of like the J.R. Smith that starts. Because I don't think he's going to finish games just because I think they have a set lineup.
I think he's literally going to do what Terrence Ross did in Orlando for the Boston Celtics. I think,
which is awesome.
They need Smart in there for defensive purposes in the starting lineup, but they're always missing some players, so they need that depth like you're talking about. So Fournier will come in there and do it. I can't knock 2 second rounders for a 20-point per game score. I really like Evan Fournier. I liked him for a while just because I played with him in 2K in 2K14. He's actually gotten good now. Like he's actually a bucket in real life, so that's fun. But I can kind of see the need for it as far as just like needing bodies and stuff. But yeah, I'm surprised they didn't attack the big man front. But
just wait. Andre Drummond's going to wear Celtic green in about a month.
So since this is a Magic themed podcast, I'll just name you guys what they gave up, what they got in return. You give me just an overall grade for their deadline. All right.
Okay.
So you're pretty familiar. We just went through all of them, but Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, M. Fournier, and Al-Farouq Aminu out the door. 4, Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter Jr., Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, the Bulls 2 first rounders, probs mid first rounders, Nuggets first rounder, probs late first, and 2 seconds. So George, you look like you're stewing. You got a grade for me yet?
I'm gonna go like B minus. I mean, the draft capital is all right. So as long as you hit on that, I think getting a raw prospect like RJ helps their grade a bit. And then Wendell Carter's still young. Maybe you can get something out of him. Otto Porter's nice, but I don't know if they have a need for him because I already have Terrence Ross. Maybe they buy him out. No idea. I don't think it was a completely bad haul for them. I think it's okay for rebuilding. And I mean, if you get Fultz and Jonathan Isaac back at full strength and they're producing with 3 firsts and 2 seconds and RJ, and you hit on some picks, I think that'll do it for them.
Josh. So I heard a B- from you, George, right?
Yep.
Okay. Josh.
I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna say C, just because they got a bunch of throwaway players, and they didn't get any they got a lot of picks, but they didn't get any like super substantial picks. Like they're really gonna have to swing and hit. The only player that really is worth mentioning in the next 2 to 3 years is RJ Hampton, because Wendell Carter Jr. probably flame out there, be like a role player at most.
We hate Wendell Carter Jr. He's not going to be out of the league anytime soon.
He could be a backup center for them.
Yeah.
That's the most he's going to be, though. And same with Gary Harris. And I mean, I like their young core. I think I'm still confused why they drafted Cole Anthony when they had so much stock in Markelle Fultz. So that's kind of, and then they got RJ Hampton, who's another point guard. So that's kind of an issue. But I think they could have gotten more, especially for Vucevic. I think that maybe they pulled the trigger a little too quick because they've been losing a lot. So I just give it a hard C. It's not terrible, like George said, but I don't think it's anything worth like gloating about. I think it's just a pretty average haul.
Ever since the AD trade, it's been very tough being a seller as far as like your players.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about the James Harden trade when we get to the Victor Oladipo trade, but like it's like you traded Nikola Vucevic, 2-time All-Star, and then Aaron Gordon, who also had some good trade stock for. Yeah, like you guys said, no real like long-term players like that you want to keep around develop besides maybe RJ Hampton, and then maybe 3 first-rounders and 2 seconds that maybe you could package into like a lottery pick. But like it's very bland, especially just because of how good Nikola Vucevic really is. But it was also probably hard finding a team that wanted to buy Vucevic at the deadline. Like not a lot of teams like the Bulls wanted a center like that, because Vucevic kind of he has a specific niche as far as the team he fits on.
I think the reason why I B-, like, you know, it wasn't that far from you guys. The draft capital was really the most important thing. 3 firsts is a lot, and you know you could end up flipping that for a star who asks out in 2 years. You know, so it's not completely horrible. But I do want to say one thing. Does this mean Mo Bamba's their starting center now?
I hope so.
Because I know we all love Mo Bamba here.
I think I covered every single Magic trade. I don't think there's
it's either Mo
Bamba
or Wendell Carter. I think
I
it's
swear
only right.
I see Wendell Carter start in an Orlando Magic jersey,
there's no way Bamba gets less than 20 minutes now, though. There's no way.
Well, I mean, I think if they play tomorrow, I don't think Wendell Carter would even make it out there in time. So hopefully we'll get to see him starting
Clippers
at center.
Gonna be so angry. He has to play Mo Bamba 30 minutes.
Texas delight Mo Bamba is going to eviscerate whoever he plays. He is.
I'm gonna look up who they play.
So undervalued.
Well, while George looks up who they play, we'll talk about the team that probably the second busiest or most buzzworthy trade deadline. Talk about the Raptors here. Let's start with what they did, and then we'll get into what they didn't do. So they traded Norm Powell, mighty Norm Powell, we the Norm, to the Trailblazers for Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. Thoughts on this? And do you guys think this was a necessary upgrade for the Blazers? Because he gives them a lot more offense, not a lot of defense. Josh.
I think they're full out shooting. They're going, you know what? The game is changing. We have a elite scorer in Damon CJ. And Rodney Hood's kind of been overshadowed because they're playing Melo in the bench 6-man slot. So he's kind of gotten a loss of minutes, producing practically nothing. And Gary Trent's not hitting his shots to the point where he's becoming a Gary Harris, where he just plays good defense and can't hit a bucket. So I think they're full selling in. They see Norman Powell. I think he's 3rd in 3-point efficiency rating. So it's a phenomenal move. They're really going like, you know what? We want to have somebody that can drop 40 on the court all 48 minutes. And they really did that.
They have 2 of those players.
They have 2, but you know, Terry Stotts is incapable of splitting their minutes, so they're just like, let's just throw Norman Powell in there. I don't know how it's going to work. It's a very high risk, high reward situation for them, because Norman Powell could honestly be the X factor they need to make that like late push and like get some surprise wins. I think they could make like the conference finals now.
George, Calm Josh down. Do you have conference finals? Are you going to agree
No,
with him there?
I don't. They don't have
I said they could.
They
I don't.
still don't
I
have.
don't.
Rain on Josh's parade for me.
They still don't. Norm Powell isn't a crazy wing defender. They
He's
have
not
no
good,
wing
actually.
defenders.
Like, he's not a good defender.
Roko's sweating now. He sees Dame, CJ, Norm Powell, and Enes Kanter. All those guys are behind him.
And Nurk. Nurk's
And he's
not
going
good at
out and sees
defense either.
Kawhi and Paul George, and he's like, "Oh my god." Anyways, that's not the point. So Norm Powell's on an expiring, and I just feel like the Raptors didn't want to pay him since Pascal and Freddie VanVleet, and then OG is going to be up for a new deal soon. So they want to save some cap room there. For the return, Gary Trent, I actually like it for them. He's really young, and if Nick Nurse can get something out of him defensively, I think that makes him a lot better because he's already great offensively, great shooter, and he's great for your offense. And if Nick Nurse, I mean, he's an incredible coach and a great defensive schemer. If he can get something out of him defensively, that'll help them a lot. For Portland, basically, I agreed with most of what Josh said, besides the conference finals take. More of like an X factor thing. You hope that he just helps more. I don't know how much more offense they need. He's okay defensively, but
Listen. Let me explain this to you. If Portland gets like the 5th seed, right? And they play like the Clippers in the first round, and we've seen the Clippers disappoint. And then let's say the Jazz win in the first round. Rudy Gobert's getting thrown away. Like, he's getting absolutely eviscerated in any.
The reason the Clippers
He's not that bad.
They
Rudy
need a
Gobert
great
is not that bad.
look. I'm just saying Portland's capable of making the conference finals. Now, they're not. I don't think they're going to. They're not anywhere near close to the 2 favorite teams I have in the West.
Okay,
but now they have that X factor where if it works out very well for them, they can make the conference finals.
See, okay, I get what you're trying to hint at, but the thing that separates Portland from last year's Denver
I just
team,
shoved the Rudy Gobert slander.
No, it's not. This isn't even about Rudy.
Can.
No, this isn't even about Rudy Gobert. I'm saying the difference between this year's Portland team and last year's Denver team that upset the Clippers. They had wing defenders: Jeremy Grant, Gary Harris, Will Barton. They all threw him at Kawhi and PG and shut him down. Who's doing that on Portland? They only have Rocco. That's it. Nobody else is going to stop
Paul
him.
George kind of hurts himself sometimes.
Eric Jones Jr. maybe. I don't know. It's not.
Anyways,
I'll get my thoughts out here. I'll get my thoughts out here.
Melo's getting PG.
I think the Blazers attacked. They upgraded something they're already good at, but now they're looking at their defense. They're going because they don't have. They're like the Nets, but they don't get timely stops, and they also don't have the firepower. So I just don't understand the move of trading for Norm Powell. They don't need more offense. They just got CJ McCollum back.
Yeah,
if they wanted a starter to play like Norm Powell, then start Carmelo Anthony.
And it's also interesting because I think Norm's going to command a pretty big bag this offseason.
He's earned himself $20 million.
I don't know if Portland's going to give that to him. And then I'm just like, well, why do you give up Gary Trent and Rodney Hood for nothing? And plus, I don't know if they have a spot for him in the starting lineup. I don't know if you guys have seen Norm's stats when he starts for the Raptors, when OG was out, and when he was off the bench. It was astronomical. Like, as a starter, he's way better. And if he comes off the bench and can't produce that, I don't know. It's a big question mark.
For the Raptors, I think they essentially get a younger Norm Powell. They get Norm Powell 2 years ago. He's on a rookie deal, and Gary Trent Jr., and they get to see what he can do. Because, I mean, like me and Josh always talk about, when he gets the green light, he's not shy. He'll put up 20 shots a game. Yeah. He'll make 6, but he'll put up 20, and you just got to see.
It's more like 3 at this point.
You got to see if he can get that efficiency down. And then also Rodney Hood, he'll probably play the season out, contribute to the Raptors. But the main piece is Gary Trent Jr. I think. Don't get me wrong, Norm Powell can play. Norm Powell will drop buckets for you. I just don't know the thought process behind the Trailers going after them and getting him when they could have really used a wing defender. But let's move on to what the Raptors didn't do. Trade to Kyle Lowry. So it was a whole ordeal. The Heat, Lakers, Sixers all seemed they're into getting him, and then he stayed a Raptor. Good move from the Raps here, or not? And then overall thought process, kind of with what the Raps went through the last Pride since Lowry walked out that game and gave the deuces. George.
Yeah, it was really confusing because all day they traded Matt Thomas and Terrence Davis off for seconds. So we're all thinking, okay,
Lakers
they cleared out roster spaces.
Matt Thomas, yes sir.
Because Lakers and Sixers and then even the Heat were offering multiple players for Lowry because of the salary, making the salary work, and they cleared 2 spots, and we're like, okay, so they're gonna make a move here, and they just never did. And I don't know, because he is a pending free agent. He walks. I mean, can they get us? Are they confident with a signing trade? I mean, if their point is we want him to retire a Raptor, then sure, you got it. You're going to re-sign him for 2 years, whatever he wants, and then he walks off into the sunset. But I just he like we discussed, you and I, Lehman, on our last podcast, he was going to come back and retire if that was a 1 year or 1 day, how they do in sports. And I just thought it would have been smarter to, get younger talent, draft capital, and kind of like a retooling, because I don't think they're going to completely tank. That's just not how the Raptors have been lately since they got Nick Nurse. So I'm overall confused.
Yeah, I thought they're gonna CI okay, cash in on Kyle. That's what I saw the movement going around on Twitter it was cash in on Kyle. They didn't do that. So I mean, I'm kind of stuck here wondering what was going on. Josh.
I mean, I'm with George. This is kind of confusing. And they've been confusing with Kyle Lowry for a long time. It's like, we're gonna trade him. No, we're not. Yeah, we are. No, we're not. And they end up not doing it.
We're tanking. We're making a playoff push. They don't really know what they're doing.
I don't know. I don't know why they would trade Norman Powell. Honestly, he might be a good player, like, to start for them. Like, I thought that was going to be their 1-2, him and Van Vliet, after they ship Lowry, and use like the pieces they got to build around that big three, Fred Van Vliet, Norman Powell, and Siakam, but I guess not. So I'm confused about what the Raptors are doing. Masai is kind of dropping the ball a little bit. So we'll have to see. Maybe they have something in store, but I do know, I know we're a fact podcast, but they did decline a lot of offers that they had for Lowry. So, I mean, maybe they want to keep him for something bigger. We'll have to see.
Well, so I'll go to those reported offers. I don't know them for sure, but I know the Lakers one was Schroeder and KCP for sure, and they wanted THT to get the deal done. And then in the Miami deal, it was I know it was Duncan Robinson. I'm sure Nunn was in there as well. I think it was Duncan Robinson, and then probably a very big contract like an Olynyk or so.
Olynyk, yeah.
Like Olynyk, and I think a pick too.
Well, to be honest,
they wanted Tyler Hero. So
when we saw that tweet from Shams, it was like it was only centered around Robinson, no one else, and it was Schroeder, KCP, and then for the Heat, it was just Robinson. So I have no idea what the Heat could have offered.
Do you guys like Masai Ujiri kind of just saying, I'm not going to trade him just because you guys want him? Like, I want a fair value for it, or you can go get him in free agency. Because now he's kind of sitting there. He's like, okay, I won like the standoff, but like I still have Kyle Lowry and no assets. So
but at what cost?
I don't know if he thought Pat Riley was gonna beat Pat Riley in a staring contest, but he didn't. Pat Riley turned right around and he made a different trade that we'll talk about in a second. So I mean,
he had Rob Pelinka and Pat Riley on his phone line. Two of the better, more experienced. Well, Rob isn't as experienced, but he's pulled off really good moves in the past. And I don't know, he just expected one of them to cave in, and he's like, I'm not dealing unless they cave to me. And I don't know if he's happy about that, but we'll see what they do in the future.
Masai Ujiri and Pat Riley are two GMs that they don't make a trade unless they win it. And like,
it's like me. It's like me in fantasy football. I only make trades that I think I win in.
Exactly.
But you're 2-10 every year.
I got third this year. Fun fact.
Pat Riley's sitting there and he's like, man, we could get Kyle Lowry. But what if Tyler Hero is a 10-time All-Star? Like, well, he just thinks like that. So, I mean, then Tyler Hero came out, had a good game on Thursday. So, I mean,
they lost.
They had a good game. So, I mean, yeah. But staying on the Heat, enough Raptors talk. Next biggest deal we got was the Heat stealing Victor Oladipo from the Mavs for Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, and a 2022 pick swap. Kind of gave it away in the tone of my voice and the way I phrased it. But I'm big on the Heat here. They didn't need any of these players they gave up, and they got Victor Oladipo, who, if he can go back to motivate Victor Oladipo, and he wants to be in Miami because he's remembered to go there next year in free agency, he could drop 20 for you. So, I mean, they get a little more offense here. But Josh, I'll start with you. Thoughts on Victor Oladipo going to the Heat and what the Rockets got in return?
That defense is going to be – it's so good, man. like Bam, Jimmy, and Oladipo are
Heat
like
culture.
there's some crazy defense going on over there. I mean, I've been a big Oladipo guy for as long as I can remember. I think Houston made this deal just assuming that like Depot was going to be a rental for them, and they were like, we have to get rid of him somehow, and they just took what they could get. They scrambled. The Rockets just the whole year have been just failing consistently.
I got the Harden Hall on my phone when we're done
I
talking.
don't want to talk about
So
that.
we'll talk
It
about
is
the Harden
horrible.
Hall.
It is
But
horrible.
staying on the
But
Heat here,
staying on
staying
the
positive
Heat
because the
moving.
Heat did win this trade.
So I'll talk about Oladipo because we'll get into Houston later. But yeah, it's really good. I mean, they get another person that can kind of like score without the ball, and they also get somebody that can score with the ball because Duncan Robinson kind of struggles in that department, and Hero's been struggling. Dragic's been struggling, so they've kind of struggled in that. I think Depot is a very dynamic scorer, so this helps them a lot. It kind of maybe pushes them into that top 4 by the end of the year. We'll have to see, but yeah, very good move from Miami.
George.
Yeah, I loved it a lot too. I thought he was either going there or LA potentially, and I guess the biggest thing is he's going to be like their third guy, like their third scorer, which is actually probably going to help him a lot, lighten his load like offensively, because
he's going to be their second scorer.
I think Bam might be the second option before him, especially in like pick and rolls, but we don't have to debate that. I'm just saying he's going to take a lot less of a load than he did in Houston and Indiana.
Hey,
oh my God. Anyways, so it's going to help him out with his body. Hopefully he doesn't, continue to break down. I want him to stay healthy. Defensively, perfect fit. That Heat culture, that closing lineup is going to be insane. Are
we seeing Point Jimmy here? Because they're going to
We're seeing Point Depot.
I like Point Jimmy a little more.
I like Point Jimmy more too.
It would look like Bam obviously starts, Jimmy starts. They like starting Duncan Robinson for the spacing. Victor Oladipo is good enough to start. And then what they put in Bielitsa there, who we'll get to in a little bit.
Or none. It just depends.
But that would be Jimmy at the 4.
For the end of the game you're talking about?
Just starting lineup.
Starting lineup. Starting lineup doesn't matter. I think it's more important what they do for the closing because.
But I know Victor Oladipo doesn't seem like the type of guy that wants to come off the bench.
He won't. He won't at all. He's starting.
So who's the odd man out? None.
Yeah, probably. He's had inconsistencies throughout his career, but
Spoelstra hates him anyways. So.
I mean, he in the finals when he had to step up for Dragic, he was great. So I mean,
maybe they bench Sheen because he's just been struggling.
But
we'll see if he's
one last thing before we move. I guess I'll segue you into the next one. They didn't get a first. It was a swap. They didn't even get their own unprotected first. Just a swap.
Let's just end it here. Great for the Heat here. Great for the Heat.
It's an A.
So Josh, what do you give?
That was a no-brainer for them.
All right. The Harden Hall right here from at ESPN Stats Info, very underground account, all the verified. All right. So the Rockets return from the James Harden trade. 4 first-round picks, 5 first-round pick swaps, 20 games of Victor Oladipo, Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, Dante Exum, and some guy they traded with, PJ Tucker.
Roydons Kuruks, I think his name is.
Thank God we got you here.
The European guy.
Who they traded with PJ Tucker just to make salaries work. But even if you want to include those guys, they got riveting names like DJ Wilson and DJ Augustine. A lot of DJs going around here. So I don't know where to go with this. I mean,
if you're not watching if you're on Spotify, the look of disgust in Josh and I's face is unmatched right now.
It's just, you see what the Thunder get for Paul George and Russell Westbrook. They essentially turned Paul George, Russell Westbrook into 34 picks.
And they got a young superstar in the making in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
I refuse to believe that they went up to the Sixers and said, Ben Simmons straight up for James Harden. Sixers said no. I refuse to believe it.
What makes me
Well, I just want to say the main part about trading a superstar is you get picks, but also you need to get players that have a high ceiling already, because you could still mess up those picks, and these picks aren't going to be high. They're getting the Nets picks who are not falling off anytime soon. I'm sorry. So I mean, like I said, the AD trade is looking so much better now because you got Brandon Ingram there and Lonzo and Josh Hart, 3 guys who would be the best player given back in this Harden trade.
Oh my God.
So it's just tough, but I mean,
they need they need to ban the GM or the owner, Fertitta,
I
whatever
just
his
want to
guy
get you guys'
is.
thoughts on the Harden haul because it looks like everything because they could have had Karis LeVert and Jared Allen even if they want to go this route.
Their
But they
owner's
got
a
Victor Oladipo
cheapskate.
instead.
He doesn't want to
So,
pay anybody. He doesn't want to pay anybody. And I texted Josh this earlier, and I broke his brain. I said, they only got 4 picks of their own. The swaps are going to be worthless because they're not going to swap with Brooklyn.
Exactly.
Brooklyn's going to have 27. They're going to pick 26, 27.
And they don't even have their own picks for the most part because they're in the Thunder.
Oh my God, they're in the Chris Paul deal. They don't have it this year, do they? It's in Oklahoma, isn't it?
No, they have this year's pick, not next.
They have this year's.
Yeah.
Thank God.
They have next year's. They don't have their own next year, but they have the Wizards.
Josh hasn't moved. It's just complete basketball malpractice. I mean, they're going to be set back. Thank God they had some competence in signing Christian Wood. If they didn't have him, they would be at the bottom of the West for years.
Where are they now?
I know, but they also got screwed over by missing him 20 games. But I'm just saying and then Kevin Porter Jr., that was another bright spot for them. I know that wasn't in the Harden haul. They have something, but I mean, this has just been like, you couldn't even do this in 2K. This is the worst. This is going to go down as one of the worst trades in NBA history. We thought
the biggest fumbling of the bag of a superstar.
We thought the first Harden trade was bad when Presti sent him to Houston. No, that one does not look even as close to
At
as
least
bad.
they got Kevin Martin.
I
maybe
think
the picks will save it. Who knows? But
it's just hard banging. I don't even know who their GM is. I've never seen them pick. I don't have faith in them picking.
I don't either.
Josh, do you want to
break
add
silence
in?
here? So I didn't have a
Please give us
direction to
something.
go in with this. I just wanted to let everyone know how bad the Harden deal looks because they finally completed it. Because I was very upset. I was like, why didn't they keep LeVert? I'm big on LeVert. Luckily, once my Pacers hit a game winner the other night,
too.
so there it is. But Josh, bring us home here as far as the Harden deal.
Only 3 years ago, they were 1 injury away from winning it all.
27.
1 injury away.
That's a good way to stop it. That's a good way to start
I can't believe it.
Chris
The
Paul's
Houston
hammy,
slander.
man. You
I
did
can't
us a
believe it.
disservice.
I guarantee Chris Paul hit 10,000 assists. I guarantee he'd trade 5K of them for a healthy hammy in 2018. Guarantee it.
He would trade all of them. I don't think he gives a fuck about an assist. Whoops.
Oh,
Sorry.
all right.
My anger
That's our cue to move on. So, a few more important moves. I will start here. Clippers trading Lou Will in 2 seconds for Rajon Rondo.
For
I'd be
nothing until April, actually. That's what they traded him. That's what they traded Lou Will for.
So I'll
nothing
start
until
here.
April.
I'd be a hypocrite if I was like, oh, I don't like this move for the Clippers because one, I was scared of it in the offseason of them getting Rondo, and I was like, oh, thank gosh, he went to the Hawks as a Laker fan. And then 2, I've been harping, please get a point guard, but this is a little interesting. I'll let you guys give your thoughts first, and if you guys don't mention it before me, I'll say it then. But Josh, what do you think of this trade?
This is dumb. I mean, like, yeah, they got a point guard, but they lost the score. I mean, and Reggie Jackson's been decent for them. I know he's not going to be their playmaker, but like, I mean, I think they're going to hope Reggie Jackson can do what Lou Will was doing. Atlanta just gave, like, there's got to be some like secret Kim Possible thing going on, because Atlanta just gave them, if he's anything like he has been, I'm a big playoff Rondo guy. Oh man, the Clippers are going to be really good come April. I am scared. I am scared. I don't know what Atlanta's doing. They just got 37-year-old Trae Young without the limitless range.
Well, I'll say they weren't getting anything from Rondo. They weren't, and he was not. He wasn't
But
trying. He was there
Lou
for the
might
money.
retire.
I don't care. They got 2 seconds. They gave Rondo the contract
and they
he
got
wanted.
cash. That's the best part
cash.
of this.
They got
They got
cash.
cash. Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. So I mean, they got 2 seconds for Rondo, who wasn't even trying, and it's a win-win for both teams because the Clippers get a Rondo who will probably try. I'll get into that in a second. But I mean, it seems like that's probably the most even trade we had because Rondo wasn't doing anything for the Hawks, and they get 2 seconds for him.
Mhm.
I feel like they used a little bit of leverage on the Clippers because like they should have been able to get 2 seconds for Rondo, maybe 1 second, but Rondo wasn't doing anything for the Hawks. So good trade for the Hawks, good to get for the Clippers. George, Rondo.
Yeah, you guys basically said it. They've needed a point guard, late games to attack the rim. Rondo can do that. His IQ is great. Leadership's great in the locker room. He's he's an incredible scout too. Like he knows other teams' plays. He will help them down the stretch. Him and Ty Lue are going to be good together.
Abuse LeBron James.
And I mean, yeah, Josh, like you lose a score, but I mean,
Mickey Mouse ring.
look at Lou Will in the bubble last season, and just overall like in the playoffs, he hasn't been as good. And you get playoff Rondo. He's probably gonna suck until mid-April, late April when the playoffs start. But for Atlanta, no, that was a fine return. They weren't getting anything out of him. 2 seconds is fine, and they got cash. Luo went back home. Maybe he can ride off into Magic City one more time for some lemon pepper wings, but. No, it's fair. It's good for both teams. Clippers wanted him in the offseason. They got him for 2 picks.
So I'll start here. I give it an A- for the Clippers. Probably B+ for the Hawks. But I'm going to get a little cynical. Rondo only really, he plays hard when he thinks there's a chance of winning. And if not, he quits. He's only been, very, very good for that 08 for the Celtics, and then he quit on them. And the Lakers, who had a very, very good structure with LeBron and AD. Are you guys nervous that he's not the guy that when the going gets tough, he perseveres. He's when the going gets tough, someone else picks him up and he plays really well. So you guys nervous that he might, because Clippers aren't exactly a very high functioning chemistry team. And Ty Lue's not exactly the most vocal leader. So I like it on the court, but are you scared he might quit? Maybe? George?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say quit, but I mean, a lot of the things that I've heard what Rondo said last season, first off, he played before with AD and they had great chemistry there. He's always marveled about LeBron and said, if I ever played with him, we'd win a ring. And, how is he going to work with Kawhi and PG? I mean, his strengths played great off of LeBron and AD. I don't know how that translates necessarily to Clippers, but his need is there. So I feel like they can kind of figure it out. The quitting thing, I don't know. I feel like it's just interesting because I thought, once he won, he got his bag. He went to Atlanta where he wanted to go. That was about it for Rajon Rondo's career. Now he's back with
He could have chosen LA.
He could have went there.
He didn't.
But he got his ring and he went to go get a bag in Atlanta, and that I thought that was it. I thought we'd see, 2 more years and he retires. Now he's back with the Clippers with a potential chance to win. I don't know how motivated he is. Like you said, I don't think he necessarily quits. It would be baffling to kind of see that, but I'm just hesitant on this right now, but I think it had to be done.
Josh, big playoff Rondo guy you are. Is there any weight to what I've said? Because he's quit on multiple teams, most notably the Mavericks. And he kind of quit on the Pelicans there too, a little bit. So what do you kind of I like I said, I get the good and high number. I think he's a very good floor general for the Clippers, exactly what I wanted. But there's a chance that, hey, maybe him and Paul George get into it. Maybe him and Marcus Morris get into it. I don't think it'd be healthy beef as far as building chemistry. I think it might kind of derail them. So what do you think?
I think it just depends on the coaching because on paper they look so good, intimidating.
Yeah,
it is bad. It is very scary for any team in all honesty. But no, it has to do with the coaching because Rondo and Carlisle didn't have a good relationship. Rondo and I believe it was Monty Williams didn't have a good relationship. And that's really where it settles because Rondo will go out there and, do his thing. But, if he doesn't like if he is being told what to do and he doesn't like it, he's not going to do it. And a lot of the more mature coaches, I would say, will put him on the bench and he'll give up. I think Tyronn Lue's a little bit more of a beta coach. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I think on paper, this kind of lowers the load a lot for Kawhi and Paul George, who have been having to play make for them. And neither of them are the greatest at it. I know I was the Paul George at point guy, but I mean, it's like he can't multitask in that term. So, man, this is, if it works, it would be tough.
If it works.
Yeah. If there is weight to what you said, but I think it's not really I'm not worried about the player chemistry relationship. I'm just more worried about how Rondo and Tyronn Lue get along. That's my big issue.
That's fair.
It's weird to think just because you said Tyler's a beta kind of coach. And I feel like if Rondo thinks he's smarter than you, he won't listen to you. But also Luke Walton, I think it's I remember this. We signed him, Luke Walton's second practice. He told Rondo to shut up or something. And so he was asserting his dominance. Then Rondo quit on him too. So it's kind of hard to, piece together where Rondo is. But hey, maybe he wants to go back to back in LA. It just depends on how motivated he really is. And like you said, I think it's all in the coaching to set that kind of standard.
I think if he wins a ring here, he is a Hall of Famer.
Depending on how big of a role he plays, yeah. Maybe they could put playoff Rondo in the Hall of Fame. That'd be fun. Like they acknowledge it, playoff Rondo.
That's a good question, Josh. We'll see.
Moving on though, JJ Redick was traded to the Mavs along with Nico Melli. In return, the Pelicans got James Johnson, Wes Iwundu, and a second rounder. We're kind of going down into the more minor moves. I think that Rondo was the last like big picture move. So just quick thoughts on this one. JJ Redick to the Mavs.
Another body, another shooter, another guy that can contribute with the Mavs core. That's kind of been something I've been echoing, that we need more from them. And they get a little bit more depth, because I know sometimes they were running like 8 guys out there. Just a little bit more help for Luka. So I like it. Nothing crazy. Solid trade.
Joshua.
They didn't improve on defense at all. They are trying
That's
to
never
go
been
with
Dallas's
they're trying to go with
mantra.
the same.
What about Nico Melli?
They're trying to go with the same
Murder on my mind.
What's it called? The same resume they had last year, most efficient offense. They're just trying to pick up what Seth Curry left. It's good.
Good
extra
point.
body.
Good point about Seth Curry. I didn't
like
connect
that.
those dots.
I like that.
Yeah, extra body. But again, I think they struggle too much on defense, and I don't
Is
think
Luka going to have the most spacing of like any player of all time? Every big they have now besides Boban's a stretch big.
And
Nico
Boban
Melli,
can
Chris
hit.
Stapps.
Boban
can hit now too, yeah.
Yes, sir.
He's got Redick, who's historic.
Yeah, but he still gets double teamed, and nobody can hit a shot. Shout out
JJ
Dorian
Redick will help
Finney-Smith.
that. JJ Redick will help with that.
He started a podcast and stopped making threes.
The biggest thing about this podcast segue, the Mavericks get the podcast. So we're going to see Luka. We're going to see Boban on the the old man in the 3. Shout out.
Oh,
We're going to see Boban there. We're going to see Chris Stapps in there. He's going to talk about those allegations in New York and how he got that cleared up. So I mean, I think it'll be fun. But yeah, very minor move there. More minor moves. I alluded to Denver replacing Jeremy Grant. We all did with Aaron Gordon. They replaced Mason Plumlee here, in my opinion. They get Javale McGee from the Cavs for Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 second rounders. Nothing here on the Cavs side, really. They got 2 second rounders for Javale McGee. Pretty solid. Nuggets side, Josh, quick thoughts.
Nuggets fleeced Cleveland. McGee's going to give him a very good 12 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all he does.
He better have brought his inhaler, man.
Yeah. There's not much. There's really not much for me to add.
Yeah, it's Javale McGee. He'll be solid.
He's back in Denver, so maybe we'll get more Shackton moments, because that's where it started up a lot. And Washington.
Nope,
but yeah,
that was Washington.
Whatever. That's about it.
We had our only 3-way of the day. It involves the no pause. It's real. Sixers, Knicks, and Thunder. So I'm going to read it out to you guys. The main parameters were, there's obviously more stuff centered around this, but there's a lot of hard to pronounce names here, and I have the reading level of 5th grader. So we're going to Sixers add George Hill, Knicks add Terrence Ferguson, and a protected 2024 second-round pick for Miami. The Thunder add Austin Rivers, Tony Bradley, and 2 second-rounders from the Sixers. So just from there, what sticks out?
Knicks also send Iggy Brasdeikis to Philadelphia.
Ignas.
You know what? Fine, we'll read all of them. The Knicks
blue.
also add Vincent Poirier and Emir Preldic.
I have no idea who that last guy is. I thought you were going to say Amir Coffey. I'm like, wait a minute, he's on the Clippers.
George, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, just my only point about this trade that I'm going to make is George Hill to the Sixers. They struck out on the Kyle Lowry signing, but they wanted a guy like that, and Hill is a veteran point guard that can, create, and he's a very good 3-point shooter. I believe he shot like 40% when he was with Cleveland when they went to the finals.
He shot good for Cleveland. I think the 40% mark is from the Bucks last year.
Well, yeah, he almost led the league, so it'll help with their shooting, especially because I can't say Danny Green is inconsistent because he hung 30 on us tonight.
Well, he's inconsistent, but he's still a nice shooter. He's just inconsistent.
Yeah. So it helps them more with their offense. That's about it. Everything else, everything else is kind of minuscule.
I like Terrence Ferguson from the Knicks. Good little pickup there. I think Austin Rivers is going to be on the buyout market for sure.
Real.
Because he can. Austin Rivers can play. He's a very good 3-and-D player.
He's solid,
so I think he won't waste away on the Thunder. I think they'll buy him out and he'll go to a contender. Josh, any thoughts from the 3-way?
This was a very decent consolation prize for not getting Kyle Lowry for the Sixers.
Yeah, they kind of. That's what I'm.
The Raptors dropped the ball. I think Philly was really willing to offer anything, honestly.
Well, I don't know if it's Elton Brand still, but I mean, they were Masai Ujiri in the Sixers.
It's Daryl Morey with the Sixers.
Oh, it is Daryl Morey. Thank you. Sorry, it was Daryl Morey and Masai Ujiri just kind of sitting there, and Daryl Morey's like, "All right, I'll go get that guy." And George Hill is not that different from Kyle Lowry now. Kyle Lowry's a lot better, but like for what, like you can't ask for that much for Kyle Lowry.
He doesn't have the
when
big
George Hill's sitting there.
ego and what's it called? The reputation Lowry has, which might help Philly because they want to make it the Simmons and Beach show. And they got Tobias Harris that's trying to prove himself. So George Hill
doesn't have the big what that Kyle Lowry has, but hey, I mean life goes on. Yes, that was three-way. Then now we're getting minor, very minor. Someone called Chris Hansen. We're getting minor. DeLon Wright to the Kings for Corey Joseph and 2 second-rounders. I liked it. I'm a big DeLon Wright guy.
Kind of a low ball offer. I thought he could have got more, but that's about it.
Yeah. 2 seconds.
He was rotting.
Corey Joseph plays hard. Doesn't play good, but he plays hard. So he'll rot away on the Pistons, I guess. DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright, nice. I like DeLon Wright. Like you said, probably
it
low
makes
ball.
no sense in Sacramento because Halliburton's coming off the bench. So where are they going to fit in DeLon Wright?
Oh, Halliburton's going to start.
What's Swiper going to do?
Starting to.
What about
Buddy, Josh? You're
Hield?
forgetting Buddy
Buddy
and Harrison Barnes.
They'll move him over.
No,
they got rid of
won't.
Nemanja. They got rid of
for 10
Bielitsa.
seconds.
They got rid of
Barnes
Bielitsa.
The 5?
He's playing the 4. Rashawn Holmes playing the 5. They're benching Bagley. No, I'm kidding.
I can see them benching Bagley, and DeLon Wright can't play the 4. But yeah, I like
DeLon Wright can play the 2 though.
Sure. Yeah. Thank God someone's caught up on their DeLon Wright tape. Now you see him playing with 1 through 5, I guess. And then I guess that. So we got the Heat sent Chris Silva and Mo Harkless to the Kings for Nemanja Bjelica. George loves this move.
Love it.
George loves it.
They can slide him in at the 4. Not exactly.
And he won't play defense.
He's just like Kelly Olynyk. He's just
6'9" Kelly Olynyk. He doesn't do anything for them.
Slide into the 4.
What do you mean another body? They got rid of Kelly Olynyk.
George is
he's
more quiet than
the
us,
body.
so we can talk over him when we don't like what he's saying.
Wait, can you not hear me?
Oh no,
we can hear you, but I mean it was a little faint. So yeah, nothing really there. Wizards sent Troy Brown Jr. and Mo Wagner to the Bulls for Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchinson. And then the Bulls turned right around and swapped Mo Wagner for Daniel Tice. So
thank goodness Daniel Tice is gone.
Anything there?
I can't believe they traded Tice.
I'm so glad they did. Mo Wagner's their big man for right now.
That's so bad. And Josh is like, they don't need Aaron Gordon. They don't need a big. And then they bring in Mo Wagner, who's probably the worst one of the bigs they could have had.
Mo Wagner and Aaron Gordon probably can touch the same part of the rim, but Mo Wagner is 7'1".
I guarantee Aaron Gordon can get higher up the backcourt. Probably. But I mean,
I don't. Well, they got size. They got size, guys, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you committing to Tristan Thompson at the center, or are you begging that you get an Andre Drummond?
I guess I don't know what they're doing with Tristan Thompson, to be honest.
I don't
I
either.
see Hassan Whiteside in a Celtics jersey. If they buy him out, I'm gonna flip.
Goodness.
I still think Drummond's pulling up in the Celtic green. We'll have to see though.
Bring him home.
All right. So now that we covered all that, I got a little outro for you guys here, a little fill in the blank. The winner of the trade deadline was, I'll start with George.
I'm gonna go with the Nuggets here. I really, really love that move.
Which one, Aaron Gordon or Javale?
Aaron, yeah. Let me say all that for Javale McGee. No, Aaron Gordon. It shores up their biggest flaw that they've had this season.
Joshua.
Miami.
And is that because of what's to come, or just a Victor Oladipo move? And Nemanja.
What's to come? Nobody cares about the Nemanja move, but George. No, Bjelica's gonna drop like 40 in his first game, but no, I think
I'm gonna go sicko mode of the podcast. I think that happens.
I honestly like. They traded Kelly Olynyk, the only guy giving him rotational minutes, and they got Bjelica, and they got Oladipo. They got Oladipo for free because they replaced the only guy they traded for rotation.
Yeah.
So very good for Miami.
Yeah.
All right. The loser, Josh, you take honors here.
I'm gonna go with the big bucks. I'm gonna say Orlando. I think they panicked a little bit.
So a C is the worst grade you would give out this offseason. I mean, this trade deadline, because you give the Magic a C.
I would probably.
So a lot of winners here. Orlando Magic got straw. Okay, George.
I think everyone knew this was coming. The Boston Celtics.
Oh no, they're not the losers.
They got a 20-point score for 2 second-round picks.
No
Are you just
big
mad at their
man.
potential?
No big
Mo
man.
Wagner.
Mo Wagner. Come get
Mo
this work,
Wagner
George.
or Aaron Gordon and Vucevic. Anyways, it's partly because of my hate.
How would they get both? Go ahead and tell me how would they get Aaron Gordon.
I said
What's
or.
your hate?
I said or.
And I hate it because you're a Laker fan, but it has nothing to do with you hating the Celtics. You just hate Danny Ainge because I told you to 2 months ago.
It clicked in my brain and
George,
I ran from
George,
it.
I'm gonna keep it $1 with you. I wouldn't trade Marcus Smart for Aaron Gordon.
I mean, I probably wouldn't either, but
How are the Celtics?
What would they give up for
a
Aaron
loser?
Gordon? How would they do
If
it?
they
Two
avoided
firsts.
making a bad trade?
huh?
The Celtics avoided making the trade you didn't want them to make, and they're still loser free. So how do they win?
They didn't win.
How do they win if they get a 20-point per game score for two seconds and they don't make the trade you?
I would have rather them
got
got JaVale McGee for 2 seconds, honestly.
He just hates the
would I, man.
Celtics.
So would I,
Celtics
but-
and Danny Ainge.
Yeah, I'm
Front
done
runner.
trying to rationalize because I thought I was a Danny Ainge hater here, but he's taking it to a whole nother level. But all right, the player who will fit the best with their new team will be blank. You thinking there, George? Or do you have an answer? Because you're.
I got it.
Okay.
I like Depot fitting in the best.
Word.
He'll be. Yeah, I kind of explained it earlier. Just him not having to be the first option is going to help him a lot, and defensively, especially in a system like Spoelstra, who already maximizes the talent of guys like Robinson and Hero. I think he'll thrive.
You worried about him taking minutes away from Hero and kind of that same? He kind of has the same skill set as Tyler Hero as far as a.
Because
on-ball play.
I actually felt like Tyler Hero was kind of having not like too large of a role, but I feel like a lot was being asked of him. And I just feel like if you have Tyler Hero just playing simple ball, catch and shoot, running around, doing what he's best at, it'll help him.
Josh, player who fit best with the new team will be blank.
I kind of have a tie, but because
thank goodness.
One of the players is kind of a iffy. I'm gonna say Aaron Gordon. I think that's my more confident one. I was thinking Rondo, but I think Aaron Gordon's probably like a more definite fit. I think Rondo's kind of like a high ceiling type situation. Aaron Gordon fits very well. He is the heir apprentice to Paul Millsap's role right now.
I feel like I gotta go Rondo just because I've been screaming from the mountaintops. Please get a point guard, Clippers, and they did. So even with all that stuff I said, like I said, it's still an A- grade in my opinion. And they need a point guard. They got one. So playoff Rondo incoming. Watch out, West teams. All right, Andre Drummond will sign with the blank. Who's up, Josh? You're up. Oh, you were. Yeah, I know you're.
Green.
Yeah, Celtic Green.
I got to. I have to.
George.
I'm gonna throw a dark horse out there.
Oh, boy.
I think he might go to the Knicks. Honestly, he's been linked there. They can give him a bag. No,
Mitchell Robinson
bag?
just
No,
got
listen.
back.
What
He just bodied the Wizards himself.
It literally said. Chris
I think
Haynes
he had
reported-
5 blocks.
Chris Haynes
5
reported
blocks
that
in game 1.
Chris Haynes reported that Lakers and Knicks were 2 of his top targets.
First
I'm
the
not
Evan
even.
Fournier thing, and
I'm
now
not
here we
even.
are.
I'm
with
not
the-
even. Chris Haynes reported it. I could see him going there. It's not as crazy as you think.
I mean,
They
what
do hate
bag,
Mitchell
though?
Robinson.
They do hate Mitchell Robinson, but they love Taj Gibson. So
I think they can offer him like
also
a 4 for
Drummond
72.
and Julius Randle front court. Yuck. Yuck.
I said dark horse. So I don't think
Not 3-legged horse.
that makes it more
Come
fun.
on, man.
Makes it more fun.
I mean,
Lehman wants him in
I don't
LA.
think it's the Knicks. I think I don't think it's either New York team. I don't think it's the Nets either. Honestly, don't know where this guy's gonna go. Maybe it's looking Lakers. He also shoot. Hold on, let me pull up what teams
Come
he's
on,
meeting with.
just rub the Irish screen. Look at
Just-
the end of the rainbow. The pot of gold
It might
is
be.
there.
So Drummond is meeting with the Knicks, the Clippers, the Celtics, and the Hornets. Oh, and the
And
Lakers also. I was like, who if that maybe. Maybe the Knicks. Maybe the Knicks. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I don't
All
like
of a
that front
sudden,
court.
they're
But...
agreeing with me.
All right.
Who's
Last one
they,
here.
Not me.
LaMarcus Aldridge will sign with the blank.
Heat.
George.
Heat.
The Heat. All right,
Yeah.
Josh. Say it. Say it. Bring him home.
He's gonna say Portland.
Bring him home.
He's gonna say Portland.
Bring him home.
He's gonna say Portland.
Bring him
Well, no,
home.
he's not meeting with them, so I can't.
Oh.
I'm gonna say the
Ooh.
Nets.
Ooh, the Nets.
I'm gonna say the Nets.
So
Man, they're bringing back every single player that was struggling.
Every
that was
2015
What is this, like
All-Star.
the redemption team? Is this the
Every
redeem team?
2015 All-Star.
Yeah, they got Blake Griffin who's diving for balls and dunking. They got DeAndre Jordan who's getting timely stops.
Aldridge is gonna go drop 25 and 13 in his first game.
LaMarcus Aldridge is the mid-range
down.
machine
I'm gonna
again.
shut
I'm gonna
down.
lose my mind.
I'm gonna
I mean,
shut down.
why not? I'm gonna throw Brooklyn in there.
So
Why
Aldridge
not?
is meeting with the Lakers, the Heat, the Clippers, and the Nets.
Clippers is interesting. That's
I liked him in Phoenix. He's not meeting with them. I liked him in Portland. He's not meeting with them. Gonna have to agree with George here. A much more healthy agreement than the Drummond one, because I just don't know where Drummond's going. I fully believe Aldridge will be on the Heat. I like him there. I think he fits there. Also, he'll slide into that. Anything's gonna be an upgrade over Nemanja Bjelica. So I love the guy. He can shoot the three, but Aldridge will give them a much more steady veteran hand.
And defense.
Not in the pick and roll. He is a big dude though.
More than Bjelica.
You haven't watched a Bjelica game in 2 years. Stop acting like you know what you're talking about. He could be all defense, but no one watches him. No one knows yet.
What do you mean he can be all defense?
You haven't watched him play. You're just talking outside your mouth.
I'm watching the next Miami game, and I'm gonna watch him struggle.
Nah. He also got a handle last season too. You don't want to know about that.
Oh, he's a point forward. We know.
Didn't warn you guys here. I was gonna just cut George off. Do you guys have a look ahead, or what team are you most excited to see post trade deadline? We'll go with that one.
I'm gonna think a little bit about this.
You got one, Josh?
Actually, I know mine.
Oh, he thought about it. George.
Chicago.
Chi-Town. Okay. Josh.
Battle of the point guards. Saturday 27th. NBA TV 7 p.m. Sixers with George Hill will play Rajon Rondo.
He did a game. I just did team. Okay.
Well, hey, some of us are overachievers. Some of us do the bare minimum, George, and that's okay.
Wow, that's how we're ending this.
Yeah. Well, you want to end it? Fine, we'll end it. Thanks for watching tonight's episode, guys. A lot of fun. A lot of fun recapping this trade deadline show. Thanks for watching or listening. And if you like, make sure to follow us at THHoopers on Instagram and Twitter. You'll always get a response because George never caught lacking without his phone. Again, Frankie the Ace sliding the DMs of George Martin, even getting a response. Hoo-wee. But yeah.
Hey, yo.
Everyone, thanks for watching, and thanks for being an OG. Take care, guys.